Ahoy, peace and blessings, welcome back. Today we're talking about how God is Satan. Alright, first I just want to say these are my beliefs. You do not have to follow these beliefs at all. But if you would like to hear some philosophy, alright, you can stick around. You may learn something new. You may learn something about yourself, about God, about nature. I've been thinking about this for a long time, you get what I mean? These are my current beliefs, things can change. The things I believed last year, I don't believe today. The things I believed 10 years ago, a lot of that stuff I don't believe. So, things can change. I expect to grow in wisdom and strength. And my student, I expect you to do the same. Honestly, my favorite Bible quote is Isaiah 45:7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. In your own Bible, you get what I mean? God tells you he creates evil. There's many examples of him doing evil, right? Flooding the whole world, burning the whole world, sending people to hell for eternity, infinite punishments for finite deeds. To me, this is not philosophy, this is truth. All right, first, you have to understand what is good and what is bad. Good, life. Bad, death. Alright, I don't think that's philosophy at all. I think that is truth. Alright, good, freedom, expansion, growth. Bad, imprisonment, decline. Good, truth. Bad, lies. Good, peace, life. Bad, war, death, stress. Good, health, eating, drinking. Bad, sickness. Good, happy. Bad, depressed. Alright, this is not philosophy, this is just truth. Good, love. Friends, family, bad. Hate, enemies, thieves. Good, knowledge. Bad, ignorance. Good, trust. Bad, paranoia. I think that is true for everyone on the planet. I don't think it matters what your religion is. I don't think it matters if you're a woman, a man, an animal, a dog, a cat, a tree. Okay, these are naturally good things. These are naturally bad things, right? And all of these things are a part of nature. Okay, other animals go to war. Other animals fight. You get what I mean? Ants fight, right? Other animals get sick. Plants can even get sick. All right, scientists tells you even stars are going to die. Stars are being born. If you lock up a dog, you take his freedom away, you will see visual signs. You will start to see a decline in his health. It's not just humans. This is true for life in general. And all of these aspects are a part of nature, okay? All of this goes under the umbrella of nature. And God, how we are taught it, is above nature. God is the creator, right? So God created nature. God created all of these things, good and bad. So maybe we have to start questioning ourselves about the idea of a single creator, but going off the umbrella of a single creator, a single God, right? This one God created all of these things. All right, so he is not perfect. He's not good. All right, he is good, but he's also bad, right? He created knowledge. He also created ignorance. He created peace. He also created war. He created love. He also created hate. He created everything, going off the idea of a single creator, right? He created nature. A lot of people believe God, the single God, is omnipresent, omnipotent, all-powerful, right? He has all the power in the world, right? He created the world. He created nature. He has the power to do whatever he wants. He can exist everywhere, right? Some people believe God is in everything. Some people believe God is everything. Some people believe God is nature, right? Other people believe God created nature. But if God is truly omnipresent, omnipotent, and all-powerful, okay, he still allows the bad side of nature. He still allows war. He still allows thieves. He still allows lies. He does nothing. He rarely steps in. He'll rarely step in, tell people with your depression, tell people with their depression, tell people with their sickness, tell people with their ignorance, tell people with their paranoia, tell people with their death, right? Tell people with the amount of hate that's given to them, okay? But he is omnipresent, omnipotent, and all-powerful. Okay, the fact that you will not step in when you have the power to do so, okay, makes you evil, right? If you were getting robbed at gunpoint and your friend saw you, okay, and your friend did not step in, that would make that person a bad friend, right? Now imagine if that friend also had a firearm. Imagine that friend also had a bulletproof vest on. Imagine that friend was in a tank. Imagine that friend just had a drone over you, right? That friend could step in any moment and save your life, right? Can prevent harm being done to you. But your friend doesn't do that, right? Someone could approach you with a knife, right? Trying to rob you, trying to take your life. Your friend could have a drone in space, could easily take out the robber, right? And he doesn't do anything, right? That person would not be your friend anymore. You would consider that person evil. You would consider that person worthless. You'd consider that person not a good friend. And this is what God is to me, right? God does not step in for our deeds. You get what I mean? There's literally children starving. There's literally children dying, being done harm, being done wrong. There's adults, of course, right? But if there truly is an omnipresent, omnipotent, all-powerful God who was good, right, this God would step in. A lot of people have stories and testimonies of them being in harmful and stressful environments and an angel coming to save them, right? Save them from car accidents, save them from guns, things of that nature, right? But in totality, about 99% of the time, that does not happen. And this is why I believe God is Satan. What a Satan really is someone who goes against nature, because we realize that nature was created flawed, that nature promotes sickness and death and war and famine, okay, disease. That's the true essence of nature. Nature isn't just love and light. Nature is also darkness, chaos, destruction, right? So what Satan really is someone who goes against nature. What you have to realize is, even in the Bible, it talks about God, reneging, God going against his own plans, God going against his own nature, right? The nature of mostly everything is to die. Scientists say even the whole universe eventually will die, right? God goes against this nature and provides eternal life, right? But the essence of nature and the essence of creation is naturally flawed and naturally bad, naturally negative. So a true and proper Satanist, a true and proper Satan will go against all of the bad parts of nature. A lot of people will lie to you and tell you Satan is going against the positive sides of nature. You get what I mean? But like I said, that is inherently wrong, right? Because these beings are still alive. These beings still have knowledge. These beings still have truth. These beings still have freedom. So really, if you recognize the world is flawed, the world is bad, you want to go against the world, you want to go against nature, you are Satan. But you'll realize anyone can be Satan. If your soul and your spirit is strong enough to go against nature, okay, to go against death, to go against ignorance, to go against war, to go against sickness, then you are a Satan. The story of Lucifer was that he wanted to be better than God. He wanted to be better than nature. He wanted to create something that wasn't bad, that didn't promote violence, that didn't promote sickness and death. He realized if God created nature, then God created these things. God created evil. Your own Bible tells you that. God created evil, right? So a true Satan will say, okay, you created this, what you created is bad. So I will not follow you. I don't want to join you. I want to be as separate from you as possible. I never want to create anything bad. But the same God who created sickness, who created death, who created disease, who created war, who created starvation, wants you to follow him and be blind to the negative side of nature, to the negative side of him. When true good beings, true righteous beings know that they're not perfect, they can make mistakes. Even in the Bible, he made mistakes, but no one wants to assign that to God, these blind Christians and things like that. When even God will admit it, he made mistakes. He shouldn't have created this, right? God say he's going to destroy the earth and the heaven. Because he was listening to Lucifer, he realized Lucifer's right. I did create sickness, I did create disease, I did create death, I did create war, I did create stress, right? I need to redo my creation again and again and again, right? In the same way spirits are constantly learning and evolving, right? God is still learning and evolving too. So this idea of omnipresence and omnipotence and all-powerful, is kind of a flawed idea. And anyone who is omnipresent, omnipotent, and all-powerful, who refuses to step in and change the world, is a Satanist, is a Satan. How could you possibly consider someone who's omnipresent, omnipotent, and all-powerful good when the world is bad, when they're allowing evil? So there are other beings, other gods, other angels, other demons who strive for perfection and peace, right? Who want to create a perfect world, but the original creator created something flawed. My own relationship with God, he doesn't even want me to call him God. He wants me to call him Satan, because he realized in that God form, he created something flawed. He created evil, and I would never follow someone that created evil. Most people who consider themselves Satanists, and I even have trouble calling myself a Satanist, they don't even believe in Satan, right? The Satanic Temple doesn't actually believe in Satan, right? The Satanic Temple, which is the biggest organization of so-called Satanists, don't even believe in Satan, right? The Church of Satan, which is the second largest organization of so-called Satanists, don't believe in Satan. All right, Christians, right, who follow God, also believe Satan is evil, right? So the two satanic groups don't believe in Satan, and Christians believe Satan is evil, right? So in this whole world, no one's following Satan, right? Most people don't follow Satan. They will rather follow a flawed God, a God who created evil and destruction, right? And they'll try to assign those aspects to Satan, when God told you he created everything, right? A lot of people just aren't making that connection for some reason. A lot of people are just scared, I guess. I don't know. A lot of people are just following what they've been taught, right? Where I disagree with the Satanic Temple and the Church of Satan is there is a Satan, right? God is Satan. That's where I disagree with Christians, right? There is a creator, but he created evil too. He didn't just create love and peace, prosperity, health. He created every single thing. If you look at every single thing in the universe, every single thing is not good. You also have to realize when a child separates from their father or their mother, that fault is on the parent, right? The parents taught them everything. The parents showed them everything. So if God was truly perfect, a perfect parent, a righteous parent, why would his children, millions of his children, decide not to follow him? Right? It's for a reason. The parents really are to blame. Also, not every so-called fallen angel was kicked out. All right, a lot of those fallen angels left on their own accord, by their own wisdom. In the same way, if your parents were evil, your parents were doing wrong to you, harm to you, right? You'd want to separate from your own parents, right? You want to get emancipated, right? You'd want to do something better somewhere else, in another better place. That's all Satanism truly is to me. These other people, I don't even consider them real Satanists. These other Christians, I really don't even consider them real Christians, right? There's so much confusion with the left-hand path, the right-hand path. Right, the left-hand path is trying to become God, right? But the right-hand path is following religion. But in the Bible, they tell you you're already God. So what's the difference? You're trying to become God on the left-hand path, but on the right-hand path, you're already God. A lot of so-called Satanists and people who follow the Church of Satan or the Satanic Temple want to become God, want to worship and deify themselves. But in the Bible, they tell you to do that already, right? And they don't follow Satan. You get what I mean? They're just using that because that name is cool. Like most Christians don't consider themselves God. They consider Satan evil when God created everything. God created the evil in the first place. There'd be no evil if it wasn't for God. In the same way, there'd be no good. But that is something you should know, right? That's something you shouldn't be blind to. God isn't just immune to divine judgment. In the book, they say they're going to come back and judge us. Right? God is being judged as well by his children. If you're a bad parent, your children are going to judge you. They're not going to follow you. They're going to recognize the error in your ways and try to do better. So when I say I'm a Satanist, it's because I'm following God. I'm following the creator of evil. I'm also following the creator of good. But I understand he has both of those natures. You get me? I understand. I'm following someone who's flawed, right? They say God made us in his image, right? We're flawed. We're not perfect. Right? We have a tendency to do the wrong thing sometimes. It's really natural. It's not the end of the world. It's not really a big deal. You get what I mean? But we strive to be better, and we strive to create better things and live a better life. And that's what I mean by God is Satan, because God is even trying to defy nature too. Right? He can do that a lot easier than us, right? He's powerful. It's not that I'm following some evil, or I'm promoting evil, or I want the thing that I'm following to be evil. I just know that it is what it is. You get what I mean? You have kids, your kids are going to make mistakes. You get what I mean? You have parents, you're going to have to forgive your parents for some of their mistakes. And that's what I mean about true Satanism. I have so much love in my heart. You get what I mean? I understand people can change. I understand even God can change. I understand angels and demons can change. I understand the whole world can change, right? But we have to put in that work. We have to put in that effort. And we have to talk about these things. My own personal experience, God doesn't even want me to remind him about all the evil things. You get what I mean? The floods and all that stuff. he realizes it was a mistake. You know, today I'm really questioning that omnipresent, omnipotent, all-powerful ideology. But I've had contact with angels who are very, very knowledgeable, you know. Where they're truly omnipotent, I don't know. But they knew pretty much 100% about me. They knew 100% about everyone else, you know. I don't know where that limit is. They seem omnipotent, but were they truly? You know, I don't know. Who's to say? To me personally, for everyone else who is not the one creator, all right, Satan is a state of your soul and your spirit where you can defy nature. I talk about this in a lot of my videos. Like, I've died probably 50 times, came back. All right, I've been to hell probably thousands of times, came back. I've been to heaven dozens of times, came back. Right, I can defy nature. You know, I don't have that great control of it. I'm not all powerful or anything. I'll never say that. But I understand my soul, my spirit is tapped into that higher state of consciousness. Right, I've drowned in light, came back. I've drowned in darkness, came back. I've been engulfed in fire, came back. I've been engulfed in water, came back. And this is a spirit of your soul and your spirit where you can defy nature. All right, nature may come against you. You get what I mean? But you realize you are a part of God, right? You are a part of the creator of nature, right? So you can make nature bend to your whims. You get what I mean? The stronger you get, the more you can do that freely and at will. But that part of God is in all of us. You know, that part of Satan is in all of us. You know, sometimes you have to defy your own natures. Maybe you're addicted to things. You know, maybe you're a gambler, right? Maybe you don't have that much love in your heart. You get what I mean? Maybe you're ignorant to a lot of things, right? I was ignorant before. I was lazier than what I am now. You know, I was more introverted than what I am now. I was more depressed and suicidal than what I am today, right? I had to go against my own nature. So being Satan is really being in a state of spiritual evolution, right? Lucifer wanted to evolve past God, right? So it's a state of trying to evolve past yourself. You know, you recognize you're not perfect. You get what I mean? You recognize, oh, you do say those little white lies. You do cheat. You do steal. You've stolen before. You get what I mean? You change your nature, right? Why were you that way in the first place? You get what I mean? Why didn't your parents change you and teach you better? You get what I mean? But sometimes you just got to change yourself. You know, I have nothing against the Satanic Temple. You know, they're real cool. They have real cool beliefs. I have nothing against the Church of Satan. But I don't think they're true Satanists. You know, they don't see Satan the same way I do. I don't think they see God and nature the same way I do. You know, there's more important things. You know, the Satanic Temple is more grounded. Talks about real life, you know, freedom for everyone, you know, not judging people. You know, a lot of the same things in the Bible, you get what I mean? Because good is good and bad is bad. It doesn't matter what religion you're in or where you're from. You get what I mean? So real Satanism is really trying to be good, trying to be great, no matter the circumstances, no matter the odds. You get what I mean? God itself can be against you, right? The devil could be against you. Your friends, your family can be against you. You get what I mean? The whole world can be against you, but you're still trying to be loving, peaceful, good. You're still trying to be great. You're still trying to defy nature. You get what I mean? You could be in a world full of hate, and you're still trying to defy the whole world. You're trying to make it a world full of love. You could be in a world full of war, right? But you're trying to defy nature and make it a world full of peace, right? That is the true opposition, right? That is the true adversary. Sometimes that could be yourself. You get what I mean? It could be anyone and anything, but good is good and bad is bad and peace is peace. You get what I mean? Stress is stress. It doesn't matter whatever the reason is. You get what I mean? These are parts of nature that we can control. Truly, these are the parts of nature that God has gifted to us. God has gifted us nature, right? There's scientists now who are cloning and doing all kind of things. You get what I mean? It could really be 8 billion Beyoncés on the planet right now. You get what I mean? But maybe that's morally wrong. You get what I mean? We haven't really come up with a good reason for it. You get what I mean? But everyone can have their own Beyonce right now. You get what I'm saying? Because we're really God. You know, there's scientists, there's doctors who are tapping into that parts of nature and looking at nature really deeply. Eventually, we will have full control of nature, you know, and that's going to play out spiritually at first, but then it's going to come into real life. You get what I mean? I just made this video because people ask me a lot about Satanism and stuff, and I wanted to just clarify some things. You get what I mean? Some people get scared, some people get curious, you know, but you know, I'm really just a calm person. I'm really peaceful. But a lot of people forget, especially Christians forget, you get what I mean, how many people God has cursed, right? I don't want to curse anyone. You get what I mean? How many people God has went to war with? I don't want to go to war with anyone. How many people God has killed? You know what I mean? Flooded the whole world and stuff like that. I don't want to destroy the whole world. I don't want to follow that part of nature. I don't want to follow that part of God. I believe there's a better way to do things. Right? I don't believe you got to cut off a part of your dick and shit. You get what I'm saying? I believe a lot of shit is dumb. That's it. That's really just it. But peace and blessings. Till next time. Don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.